Welcome, welcome, everyone, to another adventure into comedy. Today, I am joined by a slew of people, but we must welcome back Monty, who has been sniffed by Joe Biden in the image. Dean, Monty Dean, welcome back.
I need to have a shower for that. I'm good. How are you? welcome.
And we are also joined by Mr. Bruce MacDonald, returning once again from the Costa Rican rainforests.
Hi, guys.
We're also joined by Dr. Amir Janahangiri. Welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
It's a pleasure being here with you, fine gentlemen.
And
Let's have a great time.
and David Ellis will be joining us in just a little bit as he finishes up some of his other stuff he's been doing.
You mean he's got to get out of the bed? He's got to get out of the bath. All right.
Yeah, he's got to get out of the bathtub. So today is comedy, but there are times where we have serious subjects that turn comedical. And this is one of those things that when Monty and I first started the show and then Bruce joined in, every now and then it's hard to go 2 hours without seriousness. But sometimes we have a serious comedy moment where we can teach in a completely different way. And then one of the reasons for doing these comedy shows is to get exactly to that state where there's a joyous, giggly energy, a snipe here or there, or you know, Monty and the way his accent is, or Bruce down in Costa Rica, on all the little jibber jab things that we do are there for fun. Fun. And what we want to ask as our audience is to take a time and share this link with your other social media to come and have fun with us. We will be interacting with the audience. We do look at the chat room. So typing questions in the chat, etc., please go ahead and do that. And this is the information to come and join the meeting right here. And you all can do it. You can type into your computer the meeting code and the meeting ID and passcode. So come in and join us. We will be here for 2 hours talking comedy, having some joyous time. We've been away for a while, and now we're coming back at a most serious time where our sniffer president is having some interactions live on stage that don't exactly add up to a normal president. He's having, let's say, senior moments.
He's having Biden moments. That's how bad it is. Where like, I don't watch them anymore because it's like, what's he doing now? Slowly wake people up.
Slightly waking people up. Now, we want to take an opportunity for Amir and Bruce and Monty to bring up a particular comedical subject that you've experienced in the last, let's say, 3-4 months, frequencies that are just going on around you, things you notice about people, so that we can start to look at it and see the funny side of why things are happening.
Monty?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, if it's all right, let me start. The goddamn face mask, okay? Trying to sip water and pouring it all over yourself, forgetting the mask is on.
Mm-hmm. I went to a restaurant and I saw a person who cut a hole in their mask and would just lift it up and put the fork through the little hole they did. Same thing with a straw. They put a hole so their straw could go through their mask.
Yeah, they're doing that in the southern states of the United States to get meth, but for different reasons.
Right.
So my pet peeve for the last, I don't know, 6 months or so would be Commonwealth Strong Army. You know, the fate of Australia and Canada compared to the rest of the world. I mean, I don't know where Australia's at right today, Monty, but I mean, Canada's doubling down even harder on the lockdowns, and they're shutting down all trucking now. And then Boris Johnson's opening up Britain. I don't understand. I don't understand how there could be such a geographic nature to this virus.
Well, it's interesting. There's the Canadian flavor and the Australian flavor. They both come from fucked tyranny, but it's just completely localized because apparently Western Australia, which is the third on the Indian Ocean, the third of the country, 2 million people. It's like the west coast of America, but only 2 million people. A lot of space. They're still going to have a hard lockdown on the border. And if you're triple dosed and you have a negative COVID test, you still have to isolate 10 to 12 days.
Yeah.
It's been, and you know, like even here in Victoria, we're having a problem with our medical system. And it's like, really? 2 years into a pandemic and there's still problems?
In the comedy side of what Bruce was just talking about, there is no one common narrative to rule them all anymore. Okay? The ring of narrative has gone into Mount Doom.
I did share that meme of with everything that's going on, I'm sure there's a hobbit walking to a volcano with a piece of jewelry somewhere.
So in one of our national newspapers, the National Post, which is really, really pro-virus crackdown, despite being a conservative newspaper, not a left-wing newspaper, they had an article today, and the subheading was basically that Omicron is a crisis of the unvaccinated. And in the comment section in Facebook, under some dude actually posted the statistics from the Ontario Health Service, and it's a complete. And then, like, people, how could you get it this wrong? Not only is it not even on the fence, you're literally completely and unbelievably wrong based on the statistics. Like, who writes this stuff? You know, I mean, that's my question: is where are newspapers getting their starting point to write these stories now? You know, as you guys know, I have a journalism degree, and you know, you actually go out and interview people and talk to them, or if you want to stay in the office all day, you can call them up on the phone and record them and get your quotes to cover your ass if they sue or anything, or you just get stuff off the wire service. But what's interesting to me is the kind of news I'm seeing now. I can't imagine where it comes from. I can't imagine like an editorial meeting at the Canada Broadcasting Corporation or the British Broadcasting Corporation, let's say the radio division, and there's 40 people in the room. Let's say it's 5:45 in the morning and they're getting ready for the big 8 o'clock in the morning news show. How do they get this shit even past the 40 people in the room? Like, do you ever hear that thing that?
Because that doesn't happen anymore, but there's no 40 people in the newsroom. The stories are all pre-decided days and weeks ahead of time. And they have these brainstorm sessions in which whenever the on-air hosts are away, that they create more content.
Yeah.
It's the same way politicians get their info. It's all fictional. So the politicians or the news agencies are drinking from the same source.
So we have to call them polifictions.
Polifictions, yes, indeed.
Yeah. So
we're making it up as they go along.
What is the genesis of the bullshit now? Is it just institutions like it would be the Center for Disease Control running the show in the U.S. and the Canadian Medical Association and I guess the British Medical Association? Is it the institutions?
No, not really, because if you say what a month ago, if I shared information from the CDC, I would be banned from Facebook because it was go against their community guidelines. Stephen Crowder was kicked off YouTube or was suspended from YouTube because Gerald, one of the cast members, was reading from the website of the CDC, and it's all narrative control. And that's the problem. Yeah. Like I don't think you mentioned the word journalist. I don't think there are any left, and that's what it is. It's there is a story, meaning you find out information, you create a story. But most of these people just create the story out of thin air, and they hope for the best. Where it's all about narrative. That's how. Well, I've said to Andrew before, is the narrative weakening? It's like, no, it's doing its thing, but people are seeing like the low level narrative that they're pushing through the propaganda. Weak fucking source, because it's like that's not real. Like how fucking. It's like when you see photos of Melbourne and there's up to 700,000 people protesting, a couple of thousand protesters.
Yeah.
I can see 15,000 people in the fucking photo.
Yeah.
Right.
Like
so here,
doing a picture of a penguin and saying it's a horse.
Yeah,
like right. So here's another way to think about it. We're talking that there's no one narrative to rule them all, but this is part of the strategy. They brought the COOF, et cetera, did a set of things that obviously altered people's minds, bodies, spirits, perceptions, reactions, and conceptions of what life is really about. And then when that could not be sold to everyone, like I had said, we're going to see COVID effects well into 2023. We're now seeing the first knocking out of one peg, which allows the many narratives to take over their own companies, their own core places. Like what's going on in Australia is going to continue to go on until the people in power are no longer in power. What's going to go on in America? Every individual is going to have their own ring of power for their own culture, their own country.
And interesting enough, it's election season in the US and here in Australia as well. And so it'll be interesting to see what's going on with that. But I'm just going to put that to the side because that's going to be another 45-minute conversation. But
the bitter truth is that neither the politicians, neither the doctors, neither the social workers, nobody has a bloody clue what's going on. So at this point, it's just localized damage control, trying to minimize the damage in the best way they can do.
It's not damage. It's not damage control yet. Taking over the ring of power for your local environment is an upgrade to those individuals. It's saying that the psychopaths that run this world believe the idiots. The psychopaths who own this world believe the idiots who run this world can manage the game of kick the can down the road. Now, everyone's going to play kick the can down the road differently. A French is going to kick a can differently than a Spanish guy, and an American guy is going to kick the can differently than a Japanese or a Chinese woman.
Yeah.
And they all do points differently too.
Yeah, and it's just can I bring in conspiracy world because
yes,
they're also going nuts. Where instead of finding 3 different sources and seeing if they're just jumping way out into the fantastical. Where if one person says something, you could see like a small network, and I think it's natural. It's not like the government one. It's like this is what's being said, right? Everyone repeat what I'm saying. It's more of like, oh, someone released this information, and that sounds. Because everything's bullshit. We're like, well, that doesn't make sense. But they just get weird stuff when and that's how you got QAnon, basically. So
I want to add another little thing here. As each little local moron that's going to run their own ring of narrative power will have those moments where somebody within their narrative will challenge their narrative power. That's why we're seeing Biden versus potentially Trump. They're trying to resurrect Hillary Clinton, put her back in, et cetera, et cetera. They're going to do whatever they can do, that old subject matters that has triggered you before, so that you'll follow the same brain-wrapped programming they've put into you.
Yeah.
So it's an updated psychological warfare.
Correct. They've just updated the system, and now the new challengers are going to be whoever's going to have the runoff. Last election season, we saw 16 Democrats, and Bernie Sanders winning left and right. I'm going to quit now. I'm going with my 14 mansions.
No refunds. Yeah.
Yep.
Ooh, directly from the bath. Look who's turned up. Oh, no, he left.
Welcome to the show, David. How you doing today? You're muted.
Can anyone read the lips?
Nope, still can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
Now we can hear you, yes.
Hey, everyone, what's happening?
Hey, David.
Well, yeah, we're just looking at the world and we've gone through the tragedy part. We're coming out the other side and just looking at comedy because it's just easier. Instead of wallowing in negativity, it's just like, this is just funny. Especially when you remember that we're an infinite soul being that's here for soul lessons. Most of it's a joke. Like, even I keep asking Andrew, why did we agree to come here? Well, why are we here? Because we agreed to it. Oh, for fuck's sake.
Exactly. Oh, for fuck's sake. So I want to touch in, now that there's a fracturing in the global narrative and the local people are going to take over, the one ring to rule them all is broken and gone into Mount Doom, but everyone has their own narrative ring now. And the narrative ring is going to be challenged not just via elections, but Ukraine, et cetera, whatever the political things, Iran, North Korea, China, all those zombies they're going to try to resurrect and make fear inside you. And to prove this point, years and years ago, when Bush II was in office, you had a term called the neocons. Those were the aggressive war hawks who were running the Republican Party that put us $47 trillion into debt and started private contractor groups and got them listed onto the stock markets. Those neocons have been kicked out of the Republicans, and their entire apparatus that works in the secret programs now is fully on board with the Democrats. So it's neocons and Democrats and the extreme leftists versus the extreme rightists that have had QAnon kicked out. So you have neocons and Democrats and Republicans with no QAnon. What's going to fill in the Republican space? And I want to pose that as a question to people. What's coming to the future from the Republican side, opposite of the neocon?
Traditional values, a return to the base. That's my best guess.
And Fox News would allow that?
I don't know. I don't watch any news anymore.
In times of madness and desperation, religious nuts also find an audience. So I wouldn't be surprised if some sort of religious hardline narrative enters. Oh, God says this, Jesus says that,
It's the end times. It's like, it's been the end times for a while now.
Andrew, since you're talking about filling in the space, if I had to go, I would say giant dildos, as in the Jack Murphy case.
I remember Andrew telling me about when, David, have you seen about this Jack Murphy? And David said innocently, no. And I think you laughed.
I researched that shit. I did. Like, how are you the symbol of manhood? Right.
I'm lost. What's Jack Murphy?
Yeah, I vote to have the giant dildos part of the debate.
So I'm going to see Biden and Harris wearing strap-ons on the stage.
No,
thank God for podiums.
There's a very old tradition that you pass the stick to the person who's speaking. Pass the dildo to the person who's speaking. Andrew and I have gone through this before. Right?
Yes, pass the dildo.
In order to speak, you gotta insert the dildo. Yeah. There's no two ways around it, right?
Exactly. Bruce does not. You're going to tell him what it is? Go ahead.
Yeah, basically, Mr. Murphy actually has come out. Where to start? But what triggered it off? He was on a show called You Are Here with Sydney Watson.
Thing first. Set him up. He's a male coach teaching how to be manly. He has gone on very famous podcasts with millions of viewers, presenting himself as a male coach with a product and a book, a product for $99 a month, a $5,000 deal, a $10,000 deal, and a $25,000 mentorship program with him. Mm-hmm. And so you go behind the paywall for $99 and he teaches you how to be a man. And so he goes on conservative and semi-conservative radio shows and talks from the perspective of being a man, voting, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
Now I let Monty fill in.
But wait, there's more. He was on it was on the show You Were Here, and Sydney's just reading super chats as she has no idea what the shitstorm's about to happen. And someone asked, "Can you ask Jack about the cuck article that he wrote?" And his response was a very passionate "fuck you," and that's when everything turned. And it all came out that he's got porn. He did. Yeah, I blanked out the rest of it, but that's sort of the crux.
Oh, I won't blank out the rest of it. Basically,
he has vid.
Hardcore. Let's be completely
yes.
What is NC-7 rated here? Basically, he allowed men to sleep with his wife. Cuckolding is a kind of porn, apparently, where men get off on having other men have sex with their wives and girlfriends. And apart from that, because wait, there's always more, right? Turns out that while other men was screwing his girlfriend was screwing him with giant dildos.
as a male manliness, as a male manliness teacher. And then some of the other more crazy fucking videos where he's having his butt eat out by his girlfriend.
Yeah, during all these videos, I got this from Mr. McGuinness. I can't remember his first name. He's linked to the Proud Boys. He's like, he was pointing out, he watched the videos.
Gavin.
Gavin McGuinness. And it's like, you're a bold man, because Gavin actually went and watched the videos. And it's like, okay. And he pointed out, like, when they're in, the act of pleasure, they're both looking at a screen off camera. And that's the weird thing. Like, I don't know if they're following the chat or looking at themselves.
Yes, that was part of it. Yes, that was part of a chatterbait process where they were getting paid to do those acts to each other. And he was trying to say in his defense that was years ago. No, that was 2019. He was doing that, and he still had an OnlyFans page. So he started this whole new persona and didn't cover up any of the other stuff.
How are you this stupid?
But it's money. It's just money. I can still make money, and
but you're fronting like you are the epitome of manhood, right?
Yeah,
right. And then he called his male group the Luminal Order, and all these Masonic references as symbols in the center of his image. So it's like, what is he? Some magical power?
Amir and I are actually doing a series on the Freemasons and stuff, and we're going to be deconstructing them. But this guy has an all-seeing eye. He has laurel leaves as his thing, and he has this little brotherhood of stuff. Yes, see, now you see, that's why people will never be joining any brotherhood, right? Because brotherhood of couples down the wrong path.
Wait. I would like to learn the mysteries of the universe and find out the mathematical computations of making humanity great. No, it's more about I'm going to fuck you in the ass with a dildo. Like, wait, hang on. This seems a bit off brand.
Yeah.
So if I may continue with Monty just said, so let's add a new challenge to the presidential debate, and let's call it musical dildos. And whoever's left out,
you got.
Oh, it's a new take on the skin flute.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
So musical dildos.
How badly do you want it? How badly do you want that domination?
It's gonna start with Hillary. She's gonna put the strap on and try to go after the first Democrat she can find.
Is she still alive?
And it only goes on while the music plays.
Wait. So are you saying if she finds Joe Biden and he reaches climax, he will start screaming, the thing.
So if Joe Biden reaches climax from Hillary banging him from the butt, we have an issue with Joe Biden there. Well, definitely some of that stuff. What?
What's going on?
Just clinch up the butt cheeks and tear that thing right off. It's only attached by Velcro.
No.
And then Kamala Harris will be going, "You're doing it all wrong." Anyway,
yep, you're doing it all wrong. That's 10 years in prison doing it like that.
Andrew, any life is good life at this point in time. Any kind of life.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because
Then good old Trumpy Poo's going to strap on the dildo, and he's going to run around and just start bashing people in the head with the tip of his.
Because his is huge. It's the biggest one. I've got the biggest
exactly.
one. It's
he's more of a urinator.
Right. He's getting indicted.
Yes.
Did you hear that this morning?
What?
It looks like he's at the end of his rope in terms of the criminal investigation. So he's in a lot of shit. He will have to run. That's the only way he's going to protect himself.
He already announced him running. He is on his third speaking engagement, which is part of his continuing. Yeah,
and he's getting Led Zeppelin crowds. Like I've seen, Trump's hated, and then there was a photo of how like humanity, birds can fly with 200 birds fly south, and the lead one turns left, and all the birds turn left, and humans need ropes to get into a fucking cinema. It was like that. There was 50,000 people, all like 10 wide, and they're all waiting to get in. They weren't social distancing, so that's bad. But yeah, he's got a shitload of numbers. He's getting Bernie Sanders numbers, people.
For real.
It's funny, like the parallels with ancient Rome, just before the end. It's crazy leaders.
Have you seen that? Have you seen that meme? It's like it's exactly the same. It's the collapse of the Roman Empire, but with Wi-Fi.
You think anybody in the Republican Party is going to be able to stop him this time around? Because they did a real shit job last time.
No,
like, nobody can stop him.
No. Well, if anything, if anything's going to stop him, it'll be himself.
That's why he lost the election, apart from the cheating. But he didn't help because he's still like, you're a Trump supporter, you're an anti-vaxxer, and then you look at the footage of Trump going, "Oh, the vaccine's great," and they're like, "What? How am I? What? Anti-vaxxers are Trump supporters, and Trump's pushing the vaccine."
Right. And as soon as Trump gets desperate, he's going to start playing the Q card again, and it's going to start drawing the broken Q-aholics out of their recovery back onto the wagon of the Q wagon.
Yeah.
One day at a time.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's going to be like the Dexter reboot.
Yes. Exactly like the Dexter reboot.
Have you noticed all the Showtime closed out all their big shows? Spoiler alert: Ray Donovan dies. Dexter gets killed by his own son it's quite something. Yeah. Feels like everything is closing out in 2022. Remember what Amir said, Monty? You want to get in on some of that Heaven's Gate cheddar this year.
Yep. So will there be a bunch of cults that try to make it themselves forward? I think there's a real opportunity in this world of viralness that you could have the next cult of personality, whatever it's going to be, make waves in the political scene, whether it's through prediction or just talking weird shit.
I just had a thought, Andrew. I love the irony that some truths of COVID hasn't gone viral.
Yeah, some truths of COVID haven't gone viral yet.
It's wordplay, but I like it.
Both David and Mir have some backgrounds in the different orders that are out there. When's the last time a brother or somebody from the Masonic order or other secret orders has publicly run as one?
Publicly run as a Mason?
Okay, never.
Never.
They're not brave enough to do this.
It's not only that they're not brave enough to do this; they wouldn't be allowed to, and there's a big difference there. But I can pretty much tell you that Masons have been in power for quite some time, everywhere, all over the world. Okay.
Now, is the Masons similar to, dare I say, like the Jewish community, where most of them are really nice, but there's an infection of fuckheads at the top that have taken over, like because it's in like this. Correct me, please, because I need to know these things. Like the Scottish Rite, the high end Scottish Rite are the cockheads, but like here in Victoria, we're a secret society. We have buildings with symbols all on them, and we have a TV show on Community Radio. So, that's not a secret society.
Let me put it to you this way. Actually, Amir and I are doing a deep dive on. We're going to be streaming that to social media soon. But let me put it years ago. The Masons were powerful in the sense that they were people who came for the spiritual togetherness and so on.
Yeah.
Now what has happened is that the whole thing has devolved into some sort of men's social club, right? And so to say that they have fuckheads at the bottom and so on, I think the whole organization has turned to fuckery. Okay?
Yeah.
And I actually had a wonderful exchange with one of them who attempted to. What is so secret about the race panel? That's funny. That's funny stuff.
Is that a rapper from the Ukraine? What's going on there?
No. This is an initiation, right? It's an initiation photo that they spoofed. But in any case, what has happened is that it's turned into this social club. So they used to be about the work, the great work they call it. Now they're just about like trying to get people in particular positions, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this goes back way back in the backgrounds. They're trying to recreate that Knights Templar type setup where you own banks, and it's just a mess, really. And it's actually a little bit laughable, because if Monty Python could make jokes about you, my God, you know you're going to the dogs, right?
In 1970, made jokes about you in 1970.
Correct. Yeah, so they have a introduction video that they show to new members and so on. You remember that? That's hilarious stuff. Mm-hmm. Andrew, I showed it to you, correct?
Oh, yeah. I showed it to you.
That was hilarious stuff. I mean, like, this is how it looks like. I'm a Mason. I'm excellent. I'm like, no, you're not. Right?
So you got to understand the quality. It's like mid 1980s recording television, not done in a studio, not with studio cameras, too much lighting and some weird little graphics that come in and out, with a person who has no idea how to public speak whatsoever. So his arm is extended over a fire, over like a mantle in a fireplace, and he's standing stone cold, looking at the camera, reading the notes with no emotion, no thought, no connection, no whatsoever. Like as if it were, Roy Joy's Cars and Car Emporium has its first TV ad. And that's what it comes off as.
It used to work. That used to work. It used to make people feel special.
Yeah.
Right? And so they used to come in and be all happy with it.
Reminds me from a piece from Robin Williams. I used to drive truck, but now I sit on the highest court in the land. Come do our weekend courses, something like that.
Yeah. Exactly. And it's not even like that. It's not even like that. So the whole question was, they won't run as president. Is their power base shook up enough because the one ring of narrative power has been delegated to everyone's local environment? Are they going to step up and go, yeah, we're real?
They have leadership teams that put out a unified message, which is why I had that argument with his brother online. Okay. So they have leadership team that put out these messages. Would they come out into the open? No, they get too much power, inverted commas, some of being all secret like, right? But what they can do and what they have done in the past is put all their efforts behind one particular individual for a particular effort. So they usually put out puppets in mainstream. And
so are they the one backing Hillary?
That's funny as hell. That would be funny. That's funny.
She's amazing because Bully Boy is a Mason.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, all the presidents who have been Masons before.
I found out my grandfather was a Mason, but that was in the 60s. So I don't technically, could I join? They won't let me, and I don't want to. But
probably not you, Monty.
Yeah,
a little bit too irreverent. But usually it's a lineage thing. But it's probably not you. All right. Yeah. It's like I think, as I said, it's a social club. They're looking for people who are of a particular, who they think can make a particular mark and stuff like that. So
it's spiritual Amway.
I think anybody could just join and stuff like that. It's not. It's not true. And the messages that they put out, it makes me want to barf. Really, it does. It makes me want to barf because it's untrue, right? A lot of it is untrue, and it's just smoke and mirrors. And I've spoken about it before, and I've gotten reprimanded by brothers saying, "Oh, you need to speak kindly about us." No, I don't.
Damn that free will.
Yeah, there's that whole.
So the only Mason I like is James Mason, the actor, because he's just got an awesome voice.
Correct.
Yeah. What do you mean?
Kind of funny, this degradation that's in every single aspect. Journalism is void of fact-finding. It's just creating narrative. Politics has become populistic. Just rally the masses, to hell with theory or the highest good of all.
Leadership, government.
This superficiality in the age that technology is advancing so fast.
But I tell you one thing that is changing for the better and becoming more genuine. Corporate.
Yes.
Corporate.
Yeah.
Corporate is becoming more genuine. If you have a guy coming on Monday.com and firing 900 employees before Christmas, he's special. He did that, and it's like, that's what I'm doing. True gangster business. Right? I am firing all of you. Right.
So
go ahead.
No, I was gonna cut in with a joke, but you finish.
No, he fired 900 people before Christmas, and it's like people who just weren't surprised. It was okay, you fired 900 people, and it's going to become the standard. So some of the people who are probably listening to this, you might not have a job soon because it's just a standard, right? People don't have to care anymore, so they're becoming a lot more bold nowadays.
Yeah, it was actually 900. It was actually 957 people, and he did it in 2 minutes and 47 seconds before he said goodbye.
And what I find interesting as well, then they'll start, the same people saying, why are people protesting and rioting? I wonder if there's a connection. Because, where's the stability of, the narratives? You work hard, you work for 40 years, and you retire at 65, and you could die at, say, 74, like Meatloaf. So it's, is this part of the Great Reset element of like, you'll own nothing and you'll enjoy it? It's like, well, that sounds like a threat.
It does.
Especially if you're like, Christmas is coming up, it's family time and everything. Oh, I'm going to fire nearly 1,000 people in 2.5 minutes. I'm fine. Yeah. I'm just going to go to my yacht now and have a lot of volunteers.
Shows how a lot of these guys are like real sociopaths, right? These guys are real sociopaths. Like, he did that, and he's like, well, my AI, my information says you were spending less than 2 hours at your job, so it's fine. And the video that was taken off the screen, right? This guy said, "What the f?" He's like, "What?" It's like, seriously? Yeah, because everybody's like, he didn't just do that, right? But he did. And I want to tell you something. There's a whole bunch of CEOs that are saying, yeah, this is good stuff. Good stuff.
Well, it's been leaking in because I think Andrew calls it a DVD addiction. I'm fine, man. All right, I can walk away at any point. But I like physical media of TV shows and movies. And I've mentioned Ted Lasso. I enjoyed it quite immensely. It made me laugh out loud. That's the level we're talking at here. It made me laugh out more than once. But Apple TV won't release it on Blu-ray or DVD because I'm glad you're all sitting down. Did you know that Apple are greedy cocksuckers?
Really?
Yeah. I think my
first
first
little Chinese children, and they might agree with you.
Yeah, well, my first hint was they have suicide nets around their buildings in China.
You be quiet now, Monty. I don't want to hear any more of your nonsense. Okay.
Hey, I'm addicted too. All right, I know. I'm part of the Apple cult, but I'm trying to take them down from the inside.
I see. I like that.
I like their peripheral. Nobody does microphones and cameras better. They put so much time and attention to all the little details. That's what makes them good for digital appliances to use on a daily basis.
When it's made, those 8-year-olds have got really small hands. They can get right in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
All the better to hear you, my dear.
From a technical perspective, Amir, you might want to jump in on this. I have never seen a company that kept doing the same shit over and over again, right? Taking stuff away like a headphone jack and charging you more money for it.
Yeah.
Come on, there's got to be some. No, they like seriously. So
Yeah.
now they have the iPhone 11. Now, did you buy a phone or did you buy a camera? Did you buy like seriously? Did you buy a phone? Or did you buy a camera? At least 40% of that phone's effort surrounds the camera. You do realize that, right?
Yeah. But have you seen? I got myself an iPhone 13. And I could build myself now as Warner Brothers Costa Rica now with the camera gear and the software editing on this telephone. I kid you not. It really, like, I'm a kid in the candy shop. I can't hear anything bad about Apple tonight, even though I know they're cocksuckers.
I know. I'll tell the audience the level that we're talking about here. Bruce sent me a fucking ad for the new phone. Like, why? Why do I need? Why?
You did what? What the hell?
Monty, I sent you the specs. Okay.
That's even worse. But I've had a Mac. I've been part of Mac for like 20 years, so there's pros and cons, and it works. But it's
I just want to let the audience know that Andrew's camera will stay off until the transition is done, and he reemerges as Lana.
Well, he was on an assignment.
I am still in cocoon. I'm still in cocoon. I'm still in cocoon mode. This is a future you talking to the past yous.
You could have gotten that work done for 10 cents on the dollar if you came here.
Because I did say when you were away, you're on assignment. I didn't realize it was reassignment. I do apologize for getting it wrong there.
So Bruce, apparently they let the Ontario people out up here.
Oh my God. I read a story today where there's a policy in place where you can't, even if you go, you got to understand, well, I guess everybody does. Most people who listen are North Americans, but there's a lot of people who live on the border will just pop over to the US to do an afternoon of shopping. And Canada has this policy now where you can't re-enter without a negative PCR test. The US in the area surrounding border towns like Detroit and Buffalo and stuff like that, they ran out of PCR tests, and the fine for an individual to come back into Canada without the test, if you pay a fine, you can get back. Never mind the fact that this is a shut down the global economy virus. If you pay some money, you can get back in. Okay,
because it's about health. Yeah.
Yeah, the fine is $6,206 Canadian, which is about 5,400 Canadian. I mean, so if you go in a car of three, you're looking at $1,800. You know. $18,000 to get back in. There's people literally stranded in the US at Motel 6s now.
Correct.
It's unbelievable, you know?
Correct.
So, this is the example how the one narrative ring has broken down and everyone else's one ring of power is battling everyone else's, which is a benefit to us while they are trying to manipulate everyone's individual local cultural perceptions.
So it wasn't a choice of the one ring. It was an outcome of the narrative wasn't working, and so it fractured. It wasn't decided to split everything up.
It was an intentional, done that way. Yes. Okay. So, and this is going to be the breakdown of some of the COVID restrictions, but not every country is going to do it. Mm-hmm. Australia's not going to do it. They can't give up. They would have to, the amount of face the government would lose if they did a Boris Johnson there, they can't do it. They would never get reelected.
And the irony is that there's a federal election in about 2 months.
The world has gone completely bananas. Would you, if you weren't English and you just moved there and you said, "Oh, I need to vote. This is my first time voting," and then you saw Boris Johnson.
Oh my God!
How do you put a check by that face? How do you put what happened to your hair? Like,
well, the English political elite. The thing is now, I think they all went to Eton. It's like, who do you vote for? Well, which one went to Eton, which is a private school or public school, whatever it is, a high-end school? Well, just tick them because no one, they're all from fucking Eton. And it's just really fucking scary. Instead of Oxford or everything else.
Let's not forget this lady, Epstein's counterpart. What's her name?
Maxwell
Ghislaine. Right, Ghislaine. She got convicted, so she's in prison. They're gonna put her in a woman's prison.
Yeah,
these things. That's what I want to know. Okay.
Well, isn't it weird? Like she got caught for sex trafficking, but they won't point out to who. Like, she did bad things with who? No, quiet. And Andrew, we're going to start a betting pool of like how long do you think she'll stay alive?
Yes, we have to start a betting pool. How long before she gets Epsteined?
Epstein, correct.
See, that's the great thing about couples. They
Why
always
wouldn't
finish
this
each other's
woman
sentences.
sing? Why wouldn't she sing? Why wouldn't she just sing and tell people everything?
What if she did?
She wants to stay alive. Yeah, she did that, but they've locked down all the information. And Andrew Windsor is going to have some fun as well. I can't call him Prince. I think he's had that removed.
Yes, he's had all military titles and royal titles removed by the Queen. And the Queen's not going to pay for his lawyers.
Yeah, and Andrew was the Queen's favorite. So, like, yeah, fun times.
You know, it's been a really rough couple of years for the Queen. If I were her, I would be on medication. For sure. Right. If I were like, that was a hell of a takedown. You got dead Philip. You got Meghan Markle and
Harry
and Harry, and then you got this scandal that she's in. Right, this is not a good year for royalty. Okay,
I would put forward how about these bits of evidence where her love of her life, even if she's baby raping Liz a Wizard, Phil was the right person for her. And he passed on. I mean, he did look like fucking Palpatine's stunt double near the end. Like is that the Emperor? Wow. He passed on, and this is just after Harry and Meghan called everyone racist. It's like, oh, maybe did that kill him? And I saw her at the funeral, and she looked like Yoda in Return of the Jedi. She looked like she was just going to go to sleep and fade away. Then, less than a month later, she's at a cake cutting ceremony, and instead of using a knife, she grabs a sword and starts flinging it around. And Kate Middleton and I think it was Camilla were there, and you saw there's a flash of, oh dear God, she's got a knife. And she's like, no. The Queen's like, no, I'm going to use a sword to cut this. And everyone's like, okay. This is a month after she just buried her husband. So yeah, I would say drugs are involved.
What do you think is going to happen to that family when she's gone? It's done, isn't it?
No. A whole bunch of others are going to come out and try to claim the throne. Yeah. She has been the thing that stopped any claims on their throne because she's the one that signs the kill order. Anyone that claims on the throne.
Even Australia may become a republic because they decided, we'll wait till the Queen goes. I think they're grooming Will to take over, and they'll leapfrog Charles. Because there's only 24 years difference between the two, so Charles could be king for a week. So, and if you look at the media aspect, Kate and Will, they're awesome. They've got 17 children, blah blah blah. It's like and then Harry does all that shit. It's like, okay,
it's just ridiculous. The more you scrutinize the global system, the more disgraceful and ridiculous it seems. And as long as people go for it, we have nobody to blame but ourselves.
Well, don't use absolutes. You're not a Sith Lord. I'm tired of humanity. Is like, I know I'm part of humanity, but I didn't fucking vote for the Queen. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so it's like, Generation X, you ruined the environment. When in 1987 was there a vote to fucking change everything from glass to plastic? It's the elite and control it. Now, you could put forward an argument that we should rise up, but you've seen how that works, especially here in Victoria. It's like, we're human rights, we want freedom. Oh, fuck off, you tyrann, you Nazi.
Is that true? Is that true, Monty, that Gen X is getting blamed for the environmental situation and global warming?
It was. Now I'm sure they're probably blaming the millennials or something, but it depends. Like the baby boomers are dying out now. And so Gen X will be taking that mantle, and it's just an easy target because most of us are Gen X on the call. I don't remember signing the Treaty Versailles, all that stuff that's, the Council of 300, Davos and Bilderberg. It's like blame, Bill Clinton raped a woman, so therefore all men are rapists. Like, no. I'll put it best. I love this. It makes me laugh. Trump said that Rosie O'Donnell is a pig. And then the media said Trump calls all women pigs. And Trump said, oh, no. Just Rosie. Not all women, just Rosie.
That is ultimately how the left is the extreme left, and will say anything that is not left. If you don't agree with anything I say, you're an alt-rightist.
Yeah, yep. Well, the goalposts now have those boosters on the space shuttle.
Yep.
The goalposts keep moving. Apparently Stalin is alt-right now.
No, Stalin's going to be out left.
Okay, well,
because he's with the neocons. He's with the neocons, exactly.
It's secular.
There is no more center anymore, is there?
Well, we're here.
You're with me or you're against me. It's a lot of nonsense on both sides of the fence. And the thing about it is they say that these people are in the minority. So if you're in the minority, get rid of these people because they're an annoyance, right? People just want to live their lives. And then you got these idiots on both sides of the fence trying to pull you this way or that way. And there's nothing worse than, and they're all over the online space with their little captions this and captions that. We've always lived in a forest of memes, right? But now it's getting a little bit out of hand, right? So now you have people on the left, and this is basically what politics is breaking down to. If you are, and I've said this before, if you wake up one day and you realize, oh shit, I think I like sheep. I want to be romantically involved with animals. Then you're going to go to the left. You want to know why that is? Because the left will be more accepting of you screwing animals. Sorry, I'm going to be politically incorrect here. If, however, you only want a certain kind of sheep in your vicinity.
Yeah, merino, right? Just a merino sheep.
Kind of sheep in your vicinity. Then you're gonna go to the right because we're not dealing with a certain kind of sheep. Keep all the black-bellied sheep on that side, okay? And so now you have the ridiculousness of it all. You got the crazy people on the right, and you got the crazy people on the left, and the people in the middle are just like we don't know what's happening. And it's just, for me, it's everything else that happens in society. And it's like every argument has become that. I never thought in my life that they would politicize Sesame Street. I never thought in my life that they would politicize the Smurfs. Come on, right? You got people like politicizing the Smurfs. When you reach to that level, you got to check yourself. And what's the Pepe Le Pew, right? Our heroes, right?
Well, he's an anti-hero. It's like, yeah, Pepe Le Pew was cool because he showed you not what to do. Like, I don't remember him going, oh, look, a skunk and he's pushing himself on women. Hey. That's my job. That's where I want to go. I don't remember. Did anyone actually do
that? There were many cartoons where Pepe got the girl, the cat, whatever it is. I mean, he smells bad. All right.
Pepe's into bestiality too.
Yeah. Pepe, like, he smells bad, wrong species, but it's her fault. She walks under the paintbrush, right?
Did you see the one where he gets dunked in blue paint and she chases him? So there was the revenge, not porn, but there was the one where he gets chased as well.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean,
what was wrong with Pepe's a cartoon? When you're going after a cartoon skunk, come on, guys. Like,
no, he was going after a cartoon skunk because that was during the classic height of #MeToo, and that skunk was doing all the Me Too stuff, touching the other skunk, forcing the other skunk to love him, love potions, always hitting on women, disrespecting them because he was a French lover.
I was going to say, but he's French. I mean, that's why we used to back in the 80s. Yeah, back in the 80s, it was like, isn't this terrible? Yeah, but he's French, and it's like, oh, okay. I mean, we didn't replicate it. That's what I was getting at. So I don't remember. I mean, I'd rather be Luke Skywalker than Pepe Le Pew.
What is with the
everyone loves Darth Vader, but we don't want to become Darth Vader.
They try to cancel Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
A lot.
Now, you know, if you were heading towards the left because you think the left is more tolerant because you want to be romantically involved with a sheep, the lesson of Dave Chappelle should stop you right there.
Yeah. And you know, David, you very aptly mentioned sheep shagging. And I think that should be added to the presidential debates alongside the musical dildos.
Well, so you're saying the sheep represents the general public? I'm just trying to break it down here.
How do the sheep pull? How do the sheep pull? Has anyone pulled the sheep themselves?
Did you say pull or poll?
Pulling, like
Poll, yeah, P-O-L-L. All right, yeah.
Yes, pulling. Yes,
because I mean that's an interesting vision. How do they pull? Well, I mean they've got hooves. I mean they could get on each side. Anyway, I've gone too far.
No, honestly, I don't know. This year has been bad for the whole cancel culture thing. They try to cancel my Sesame Street heroes. I really love Sesame Street, and then you got the right wing responding, saying that this new Sesame Street with Ernie and Bert living together, not good. I never in my life thought that Ernie and Bert living together was suspect. All right. Yeah. They have me thinking in all sorts of messed up ways right now. Right?
Frank Oz, who created I think it was Ernie from memory. He got lambasted by the left because he said, no, they're not gay. Oh, how can you do that? You're homophobic. It's like, no, I created the character. It's even Stan Lee pointed out that Peter Parker is not gay as Spider-Man. Now, in the multiverse, you could probably have a but the very first character, because they're trying to change everything, and this is what's sort of been happening in entertainment, where like if you've seen Wheel of Time, it starts out in a village that's been isolated from the rest of the world for 1,000 years, and you've got every different genetic type. Yeah, there's black people, there's Asians, there's white, everything. I'm like, aren't they supposed to be all white with red hair? Because that's what the source material was. It's like people are complaining about, there's a TV show about Roman times in England. Where are all the black people? It's fucking England 3,000 years ago.
I'm going to say a few things which are going to be controversial, but this is the place to do it because...
Yeah, I was going to say, you know what show you're on, right? It's a comedy show. You can
say I'm going to say a few things that are controversial now. In Canada, I have friends and they're gay. And when the marriage issue came up in the States and everybody was fighting for equal rights to marry and so on, and like they wanted the priests in the churches, the Christian churches, to marry them. And I'm like, why would you want to go places where you're not wanted? Make your own shit. Make your own shit. You don't have to have people accept you. Make your own stuff, right? And they're like, well, this is a new concept. No, they have to accept us. No, you don't have to fight. Say you stay in your corner, I'm staying in my corner, and this is our new church, right? The Church of Eternal Gayness, right? You can make your own stuff, and there's no harm done there, right? But honestly, trying to get people to accept you is like, that's too much work, man. That's too much work, okay? And this is coming from someone who, like, I have seen stuff with regard to people. Andrew, you know where I am right now, okay?
Yep.
All right, for those of you who don't know where I am, I'm clearly in a turtleneck. I am not in Barbados, okay? I'm in a place I'm in a part of Canada where the climate is extremely harsh, extremely harsh. I'm in a part of Canada where rednecks live. Can I tell you that my base has always been Toronto. I moved to a part of Canada where rednecks live. I feel more comfortable out here than I felt in Toronto. Bruce, I want you to hear this, because you come from Canada. The rednecks in the middle of Canada are nicer than the people in Ontario.
They're not crazy Quebecers.
Okay. They're nicer than the people in Ontario. I feel more comfortable here. I mean, they let me like play with their rifles and stuff like It's weird shit. Let's not try to make me disgusting stuff, all of that stuff, right? But that's beside the point. They are different here. So when you think about people and you put people in boxes and you say, well, you know what, you're in redneck territory and you're black or whatever the nonsense, whatever left nonsense or whatever right nonsense they tell you, it's a bunch of crap. You want to know why I like the rednecks out there? They don't give a shit, okay, about anything, right? Their span of thinking about stuff is their span. You have an idea of what they are, but they're not like that, right? So I'm going to actually speak on their behalf here. They're not like that, right? So you got to look at people a little bit wider than that, and not what the media or the news tells you. Because in Ontario, that place was, Bruce, I lived in Oakville, and they legalized marijuana in all over Canada, right? So the kids in Sheridan College, which was close to where I live, okay, it's no longer cool to smoke weed, right? Because it's like cigarettes now, right? That's bad for you. God, smoking? No, we're going to go to heroin instead. That's cooler. So you have now a heroin problem because the marijuana is no longer taboo, right? So
yeah,
they shot themselves in the foot with that, right?
Yeah.
Was it Portugal that decriminalized all the drugs and usage just dropped by 50%? Because you mean I can do it now? I don't want to. Very quickly too, if you want to play a great game, when you read the left or right articles where it's like a black man shot for, blah blah blah, just replace anything like all the labels and just go human. So a human was chased by other humans and was taken, and because they killed 6 humans. It's a fun game, and all the charge gets taken out of it.
Yeah.
So because this is a comedy show, I have to bring up this moment where, David, you have to describe from going to be 40 degrees Celsius to minus 30 degrees Celsius and the life you had to learn to adapt.
Okay, so I was in Barbados because of the lockdown and stuff like that. That's plus 35. Okay. I want to actually describe because it's funny as hell, right? And there's not a lot of winter clothing in Barbados. Just letting you know.
No.
So I had to jump on this plane and I had to jump through hoops to get back into Canada. Okay. Right. Bruce, and you're right. It's a nightmare.
Yeah.
When you land in Pearson International to take a connecting flight, right? My flight was delayed 5 hours. So I ended up in the hotel in the airport, and it makes no sense to leave that airport, right?
Yeah.
But I did leave the airport and so on, and I was on a flight early the next morning at 5 a.m. in the morning to come here to run up onto minus 34. Okay, so
David, where are you?
I want to, this is a comedy show. I'm going to give you my personal experience. You could laugh at me as much as you want. I decided to be brave. You know, you wake up in the morning, you're going to go to the gym. It doesn't matter, right? You go, you do your leg workouts, you're doing your legs and so on. And, you know, you feel all proud of yourself, right? In the background, Tina Turner's We Don't Need Another Hero is playing. And you're thinking, that's right, bitch, you don't need another hero. I am your whole hero. Okay, all right.
That Ike motherfucker won't touch you again.
But wait, and then you come out right of the gym. You did your cardio. Your ass is good, right? Like your ass is nice and firm. Then you go and sit down on that seat and you catch ass cramp right there and then, and stops all the heroism out of you. Right? It's done. For those of you who don't know what ass cramp is, it's not very, 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 very pleasant feeling. Right? And I had to adapt. I had to adapt to different things. And then when you're in harsh climate like that, the last thing that you're thinking about is shit between right and left and who's vaxxed and who's not. Nobody's thinking that. Okay, people just want to stay warm. That's all, right? And Andrew, thank you for your tips. Actually, Andrew's actually been helping me a lot. Right,
so, David.
Yes.
David, very quick.
I introduced him to thermal underwear.
Oh, right. I was going to say, like on how did the body go into shock? Because you went from 35 Celsius to 30 Celsius, but plus and then below. What shocked you? There must have been some type of shock the body went through. It's like, did your body send a note? It's like, dear fuckhead, stop doing this.
So we were trying to talk about improving the presidential debate. We talked about minus 40 Celsius heroin. So we've got musical dildos, sheep shagging while on heroin in minus 40 degrees Celsius. So
that's the nature of the comedy show. Exactly. No restrictions.
Funny you should mention shocking, because don't be shuffling your feet on carpet and touching anything metal after that. I've been shocked several times.
Ah, yeah, the old static electricity.
Yep, not nice. Not nice. So I'm in the most harshest climate right now, and I'm actually a lot happier, honestly speaking.
Well, yeah. Well, it being cold, you don't see anyone and stuff. I mean, talking to Andrew, it's like if Andrew has to go do something, it's like, oh, we had 13 feet of snow, and just stay there. I'm like, all right. How do you be social in that type of weather? Like, I know you get used to it.
Actually, I see the chat. People are asking me, David got married. No, David did not get married. All right.
They're looking at your ring. That's what it is. I'm like, uh-oh. Some hearts are broken. There are some people
married, right?
Right. There are some ladies in the bathtub right now going, no, David, you're married.
Did not get married, all right? No. What was your question, Monty?
Oh, I can't remember. Something about snow. Well, just
socialize.
Yeah, because because I've seen things like Canadian winter, and some people go out in shorts. Wow, you've adapted. I guess it's because I live in Australia where it does get cold and hot as well, and it's the entire year is just constantly changing weather. It gets tiring after a while. I may move to where Bruce is, where it's either dry or wet. That could be that's a better world.
So the place where I live right now, the place where I'm staying, it went from minus 34 to 0 degrees. That's a 34-degree drop. Rise. Sorry. All right. So there comes a point in time when it doesn't pay to step outside. It doesn't pay to step. And your body's like, what kind of schizophrenic shit is this, Bruce? You did not warn me about certain aspects of Canada, right? Because in Ontario, everything is, you know what to expect, kind of. In Barbados, the weathermen make no money out there. Right? We know what it's going to be tomorrow, the day after that, and the day after that. You don't need to tell us what the weather's going to be, right? In Ontario, less than, but out here, like I hear the alerts on Google and so on, and this morning was a blowing snow warning. It went from an extreme cold warning to a blowing snow warning, and I'm like, there's no such alert in meteorology.
There is. That's the North version. Don't drive. That means don't drive.
They're just making up shit now. Like, what is a blowing snow warning? I've never heard that before. Right. And then
basically, when a snow loves a man, they go to a special sort of hotel, and not that blow. Sorry, wrong. Yeah.
So, David, that means don't drive. That's what blowing snow means. Low visibility.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Unless you want to have that Star Wars effect of being in the Millennium Falcon and drive real fast, and you get the streaks of the SAR.
like hyperspeed.
Yeah.
No, I've had a hell of an adjustment. Actually, I'm enjoying it because I'm not gonna let this climate break me. But let me tell you, a lot of people have been broken on the ice. On the ice, I saw my neighbor. He drives a pickup truck. The open back pickup truck. He doesn't have a cover for the pickup truck. He wakes up, he comes outside, the tray is full of snow. And you know that's going to be heavy, right? Like, the look on his face, because he just wants to get to work, right? But he didn't expect it, right? It's like, he didn't expect it. So now he has to empty that tray before moving that car, because you're going to reach a street light and you're going to be out of gas, right? So that's funny stuff. I do appreciate living in different places in the world. Hey, Andrew, you remember when we were in Boulder?
Yes.
Now, Boulder is supposed to be the new California. That's what they tell us, right?
Well, they try to indicate it, but it's different. It's not. You can't compare it to California. It's its own. It's its own thing.
Boulder is supposed to be the new California, right?
Robert, the fastest memer in the West, or Central, wherever he is.
That's exactly what it looks like, Robert. That's actually accurate. It's actually accurate, right? You're going to be driving through, and that's all you're going to be seeing, right? But I do really appreciate living in different places. The point I was making about Boulder, if you remember when we were there, right? There's an energetic problem inside Boulder that is very anti-electronic. You remember that?
Oh yeah, absolutely, yes.
Like nothing worked. Like something worked. Nothing worked when we were down there. I don't know if there are people out there who watched the show back in the day, but nothing was working when we were in Boulder.
Yeah. So David, because it's a comedy show, you come to Canada, back to Canada and where you're at, and then people talk to you. And it's not like Barbados, where you have the long fingernail ladies in the gas station. And if people don't know, the gas station ladies in Barbados are the analog version of internet dating. So if a gas station lady likes you, she tells all her other gas station ladies, and they start hunting you down.
Explain something to you. Different cultures are hilarious. If you are in the Caribbean, there's a laid-back culture. Okay? So we have a saying in the Caribbean: never put off till tomorrow what you can do day after tomorrow. So we have that saying in the Caribbean. And so if you go into a gas station, as an example, you have to be prepared to wait 10 minutes before you get gas. There's no self-service. So you're going to have somebody come to you to pump your gas. And that's where things start to go downhill, right? So the person who's going to come to you may have really long fingernails, right? And you have to be on your best behavior. You have to stifle any kind of comment that you would possibly make and keep it civil, okay? They're going to walk around your car and they're going to try to find the gas tank and stuff like that. Make sure that the gas tank is full, because if it isn't full, she's going to walk off and talk to friends and come back and talk to you. That will add another 5 minutes to your 10 minutes. Okay, Andrew, you know what I'm talking about, right? And so
exactly, there's a whole culture around gas station ladies essentially being female gigolos, always looking for a date. And they're always hitting on anything that will accept their different hair weave.
What's hitting on you? They were always hitting on you.
Yes.
Specifically.
Yes,
right?
It was awful.
Specifically. And I find that hilarious, right? Because you don't know what's going on there, right? But from a Caribbean perspective, we do. And I always found that hilarious. There are certain things when you were in Barbados with me that were hilarious to look at. Andrew,
yes.
Right? Because we got some crazy people, there are crazy people everywhere, but depending on where you are, the crazy takes a whole new dimension. So now I come to Canada, and in Ontario, everything is self-service. You get out, and it might be minus whatever it is, but you get out. But out here, where I am, there's a co-op station next to me, so so somebody comes in and immediately. And you're surprised, the shock and horror, like, good morning, sir, how are you? Today, I'm like, what's going on? Like
am I under arrest? What's going on? Is this a sting?
Like, what do you want, right? What do you want? I had to adjust to a number of things, and it's actually kind of funny, Andrew, because the adjustment, even in like just going to Walmart, you know, the markets, Barbados and stuff like that, right? Everything goes slow and everything goes really, really fast, and people are very like on the ball and stuff like that. And I'm like, ooh, this is really, really nice. I could get used to this, right? But
somebody's echoing. Bruce, I don't know if it's you. We'll see if it's all right. The echo's gone now. Yeah. Go ahead, David. The echo's gone.
David, so in Barbados, you go to a gas pump if you fancy a pump.
If you fancy a pump.
Correct. No, you don't fancy those. You don't fancy those pumps. You don't have a choice. You don't have a choice. Listen, me going to a gas station meant 30 minutes, even if I just wanted to go in and get a pack of cigarettes.
Okay? So where you from? You white devil then. Oh.
Well, they know me on a regular basis because I would regularly get cigarettes, this and that. And then like some of the gas station ladies work at like 2 gas stations because they have like 2 jobs, like the same gas station, but they'll work nights here, days there. And then they see you come in different dress clothing and they strip you in their mind. You can watch what they're doing. Okay. No, they are not that good looking. You must add 50 pounds and a 40-pound hair weave.
Correct.
So that's the value-added tax. You're paying tax because you have to go there.
Right.
That's funny. Hey, Andrew, you remember Dr. Feelgood?
Yes.
Oh, God. So if you are on an island, and it's not just Barbados, any island actually, any tourist island, and you need drugs like weed, there's always going to be somebody that's going to be on that beach to sell you stuff.
Which I know well, because I would go to my little beachside bar, and the second I'd walk in, 5 people, you need to, what you want? I don't want nothing. I don't want your drugs. I could not walk out onto the beach without being sworn by 10 or 15 people.
Okay. That was, listen, but then there was an esoteric guy out there, right?
Yeah.
Which we nicknamed Dr. Feelgood, right? Now this guy does Tai Chi,
Chinese medicine, acupuncture,
and he can also make you feel good with his stash, right? And I'm like, how do you marry all of that together?
Quite easily.
How do you marry all of that? I can see how that would make you move a little bit more gracefully and slowly. How do you marry all of that together? But that was some fun back then, right?
You have no idea how much fun Tai Chi is with drugs. That's his answer.
Well, actually, Tai Chi is designed, that was created so if anyone fought you underwater, you could defend yourself.
Right? But we had some really good times back then. No, we did.
We've got a couple of Australian sayings. One is, she'll be right, meaning don't worry about it too much. But during the summer, the next saying is, fuck this, it's too hot. So, it balances it out. Why are Australians so laid back? It's the land. It's generally the land where
Monty,
you will bake.
How are things in Australia right now?
Personally or as a collective?
No, as a collective.
Okay. Apparently it's well, we don't have lockdowns, but we have mask mandates, vaccine mandates, and restrictions.
Did you hear what they're doing to the retirees in Austria? Yo, that's rough.
Yeah, at the moment, here's a question for the panel. In the fuckhead Olympics, who's playing? We've got Australia, Canada, Austria, and Germany. Is there any other countries that are trying to out fuckhead themselves?
Arab Emirates. Okay, they have some pretty extreme COVID stuff that can involve missing a limb if you fill out paperwork wrong.
And Israel, they've been disqualified, I think. I'm not sure.
No, they haven't they're about to let go of their mandates, but they haven't let them go yet.
Okay, because it's just fascinating because Bruce and I talk, and it gets kind of our conversations into like which country's worse. It's like, well, Australia's doing this. Well, Trudeau says this, and it's just like it's weird. Like, the narrative of Andrew, the ring has been separated, but what, did they forget that the fucking internet exists? Because like we know these things. Like right now, we're all over the planet. I'm not sure where Amir is, but don't give out your address. UK. Oh, well, there you go. You got UK, Canada, Costa Rica. I'm Victoria, and Andrew is in the netherworld because we can't see him. But we're global, baby. It's like, yeah, people do talk.
Correct. I do know that a lot of stuff is going on here, and a lot of the provinces are resisting. Part of the reason I got out of Ontario when I did was because they were about to do some really, really messed up stuff, right? And they are doing messed up stuff up until this point in time. When you set up a snitch hotline.
Yeah, we had that as well, yeah. It's so weird. Did you think the Western world would turn into East Germany? Like the statement you just said, yeah, I got out of Ontario. It's like what the German Luftwaffe were bombing and like, the French underground contact got me out on a boat just before the Russians came over the hill type thing. It's that weird.
Monty, that's how it is, though. That's how it is. Depending on Canada's kind of like the US, but not as crazy, I would have to say. But you have provinces that actually just don't give a shit. Mm-hmm. This morning, I went to the gym. Gyms are open where I am. I went to the gym.
Oh, nice. That is defiance. Sorry to interrupt, because the whole lockdowns and everything else like that, they left the liquor stores open, and all the major corporations. They locked down gyms. They haven't even put out, I think about a month ago. It took 18 months to actually go, maybe if we eat right and exercise and you build your immune system, it's like, okay. So there's enough vaccines in the community that you start actually pointing out how to be healthy.
So did you guys hear that the Jamaican bobsled team qualified for the China Olympics?
Yeah.
Did not.
Yeah, no,
no. Was it? Yeah, I was going to say, did you watch Cool Runnings?
That's what I was thinking about. That was an awesome movie.
They really qualified.
Okay, well, how many countries are actually going? About 4. So yeah, good on them.
Yeah. So there's a lot of people in chat asking about the Olympics and economy in 2022. Let's try and find some comedy in that.
Well, I was going to bring that up about what's going to happen post Chinese Olympics, meaning they spent a lot of effort to silence COVID. They've got Shenzhen, a town of 13 million. They're welding people behind their doors again. They're doing some serious stuff to try to stop, et cetera, et cetera. But the thing is, once the Olympics are over and the economic disaster that is them is going to come in, combined with the whole Evergrande limited amount of things that they've been doing, we're talking $46 trillion in Chinese property assets that are going to become toxic. And all the foreign lenders are going to have to deal with that. At the same time, the Fed is saying that we might have to raise interest rates 4 times this year because quantitative easing isn't functioning anymore. And the craziness of this, the petrodollar being challenged by what's going on in Ukraine. This is the one ring in secret going, I still run you all, bitches.
Yeah. I think Bruce said comedy, Andrew.
Right. But with this, what will we see comedic come out of China? How many corporations are going to be zombie corporations that they're going to try to cover up? And all the other crazy things that are going to come out with all the lending, the crazy lending that's been done to support that fakery.
A lot. How does? I like to call it West Taiwan because it pisses them off. But how does Taiwan fit into this? Because Bruce mentions that a lot of people want to join back because there's that cultural thing. People have pointed out if Taiwan joins with China, it will help China out economically or something like that.
No, it'll never happen.
Yeah, well, or they'll just keep talking about it because instead of like, there won't be a massive war. It's better to have a cold war, like for the energy farm point of view. It's better to have a cold war. You know, when you're on the edge of your seat or you lean backwards and you're on the edge of the seat and you catch yourself, it's sort of you being there. But if there's a wall, you obviously fall backwards. So if there's a hot war, that causes more shit. But if there's the threat of war, you can harvest so much more energy.
Correct. That's what they've been doing in the franchise over and over and over again. Common playbook.
Yeah. So that I think that's probably what will happen with Taiwan. There'll be sort of spats here and there, but
well, it'll be the new Iran. It'll be the new Iran.
Yeah,
but it's the other side of the pendulum. They're the good guys. They're not the Iranian bad guys.
Yeah.
Now, something to add with this whole thing of what's going to happen to this world after China. Well, China's going to signal to the rest of the world what it's going to do to save its currency, and it will determine what it does. Will tell everyone else what it thinks of everyone else. China will save its currency because the $64 trillion situation they're looking at is Lehman times 5,000. Okay.
Yeah.
So there are going to be a lot of British and American and South American money launderers who suddenly don't have money to give back to the cocaine cowboys of the cartels. That's funny to me.
Well, I mean, I've watched all. I'm near the end of season. I'm on season 3 of Narcos Mexico. So I'm fascinating. Like I watched all these shows. I need to find a product. I'm not choosing cocaine or heroin because it doesn't end well. But if I get a product, but just by watching those shows, you can it's not in the show, but it makes sense that the amount of money that they bring in, it would leach out with everything. Sort of like, when the Taliban burnt all the heroin in Afghanistan, and then 4 years later, there was an economic crisis, maybe a connection. It's just fascinating. Yeah. So, and also China, everything's made, to quote Primus, everything's made in China. And so if they have to save the economy because everyone buys their shit. You know what I mean? Now, usually they would start a war because that's good for economics. But as we've just pointed out, we may go to war and they'll still spend. Because that's the thing, the basic thing we're talking about. Money has to move around.
Monty, while you're talking, I see Bruce getting uncomfortable looking at his iPhone 13 and thinking, this all could end for me. This all could end for me really badly.
I just discovered an iPhone and it may be the last one. This is for me. That's not Norm Macdonald. Craig Ferguson. I discovered Craig Ferguson a month before he went off air. Like, motherfucker.
Andrew's completely right about the narco traffickers not getting their returns from the global economy. We've already canceled the public pool in my Pueblo.
Okay, now those narco traffickers that suddenly don't have their money, they're going to be looking, where can I get my money from? I want my fucking money. And are they going to get money out of the Chinese triads? No. Are they going to get money out of the Chinese government? No. So who are they going to look at?
Local governments.
Yeah.
So we're going to have the mob take over many the whole Middle Eastern.
No, the American PPP thing, the private sea loan thing that they did for COVID. They're pretty sure at least 1/3 of the funds went to repay drug dealers who lost their time from the lockdown.
What? Because they're too big to fail?
No, because these drug dealers, they're legal. They have legal businesses, and they're just laundering cash. And when the lockdown, they couldn't use the cash. They didn't have the cash coming in from their local street corners.
You remember that round table we did, Monty, where I showed you that the churches, they tried to get PPP loans. They did.
Yeah.
6
billions.
Like, yeah. Come on. Seriously, people. Mm-hmm. Okay. Like, how corrupt. And it wasn't, and it showed, the statistics show that the money that the churches asked for, right, never made it to parishioners.
Nope.
They never made it to parishioners. So it was basically to pay off the clergy. Like, seriously. And and these are organizations that receive tax breaks on everything.
Well, David, you know those pedo lawsuits against the Catholic Church, or those lawyers aren't cheap. So I got to pass the cost on to the parishioners somehow, some way.
I'm noticing.
Andrew, talk about liminal orders.
It's fascinating. I just had that thought of like being on this planet. Like, I always thought it was Team Dark want to get caught. I don't think they want to get caught, but there's that hubris and that arrogance. And to save time, the question is, what isn't corrupt? But it's so in your face, and like for people like centrists and awakened people or just logic, you just look at all this stuff and like, how many times do we say really as a question? You know what I mean? It's like the information you just shared, David. It's like, really? And then you've got payments to drug dealers, basically whatever's happening on the planet, apart from even with sport. It's like, really? Maybe it's just me.
There was another article. Companies that asked for loans during this time, they took the loans and they paid the C-suite level people bonuses.
Yes. Yeah, here in Australia, we actually had
sometimes you just gotta look at this stuff and be like,
right,
really?
Harvard, David, Harvard and all the big Ivy League schools applied for loans when they have a $70 billion endowment, and they made them give that back.
Yeah.
When they found out about it. Yeah.
Here in Australia, the federal government came up with the concept of job keeper because of the lockdowns. And so they gave a certain amount of money to the companies so they could keep people on their books as jobs. And do you think some businesses took advantage of that? Yeah, and so they're asking, pay it back. And that's another question, like with all, December 9th, 2019, the economy was just about to fall over and die again or still. Then you have lockdowns and they've printed trillions of dollars and no one's talking about so they've made it worse times 1,000 and no one's talking about it. I mean, we are, but like in the financial cycles, like, oh no, there's like a flu going around, so we're turning into Nazi Germany. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, speaking about Nazi Germany, the parallels are actually really shocking.
Correct.
So it wasn't until we had this kind of an economic breakdown in Germany that crazies like Hitler found audience. So that's a constant risk that the parallels that society, the global society was going through before World War I, World War II, we're seeing the same shit right now.
Yeah, now because you've pointed that out, you have to be cancelled and silenced because it's like, how dare you point out factual notes that you've discovered and compare that to the Holocaust, you evil anti-Semitic man.
Do you see how they're trying to rep this guy a new orifice? The guy who created mass formation psychosis.
Yeah.
Like
Dr. Monroe, was it?
Would you come up with something like that, right? So
yeah, I did. I've seen the memes. It's like, there's mass information psychosis, and then the mainstream media says no, there isn't. Well, I think you just pointed it. That's an example of the everything's fine.
Yeah, it's hilarious. They're trying to, but his theory is actually quite a valid theory. It is, right?
Well, it's the narrative.
This is what is a real problem for me. And if you want to talk about comedy, this is comedy. Now, you can't even come up with a theory that they don't like anymore. Okay? You can't even come up with a theory that they don't like anymore. He comes up with a theory that says that if you get people to concentrate around a singular idea, be it their safety or whatever else, they will start turning on each other, right? And turning on anybody who doesn't fit the narrative. Okay? We have seen this play out so many times in history, okay? But he's not saying anything that's new, Andrew. He's not saying anything that's new.
No, he's just saying it at a time where it can go viral like it never did before.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, the element of the communication that's out there, where it has been put forward that the globalists brought in the internet because they thought they could control humanity. Well, guess what?
It didn't work out so well, did it?
No, complete inversion. There you go, Bruce. The complete inversion. Like, oh, we're satanic and we'll do all this, and so humanity's gone. Yeah, fuck, whatever. Dark web, and they're like, I've seen it here, like the propaganda about the anti-lockdown and anti-vaccine mandates here in Melbourne. We've been called extremists, Nazis, anti-vaxxers, and everything else like that. Basically, everything under the sun except for what the people are actually protesting for. And this is from the government and the media, and people freaked out. Like we haven't talked about that Djokovic fella who apparently played tennis. He's the only tennis player to be thrown out of a tournament for not taking drugs. This is the world we live in. A lot of Australians who took the vaccines, the reason they wanted him deported is because he wouldn't take a vaccine. It's not based on health. It was just, maybe some part of their soul is like, yeah, I honor your free will, but fuck, dude. Like, all those memes, like your guides are all there going, oh, fuck, give me a scotch. Oh, fuck me. Because of free will and everything else like that. But he had medical exemptions from two different people, but they only kicked him out. The government kicked him out because the ministerial power was, we don't want him to become a hero of the anti-vaccination movement. That's the only reason he was kicked out. It wasn't about health at all.
Stop 1 second. I need to give you a little bit of background here. This man is an anomaly when it comes to sporting superstars because he actually gave a lot of his wealth to charities. So if you wanted to kick somebody out, this would not be the one.
Mm-hmm.
His background, he actually gives to charities, to people, and medical charities for that matter, ironically enough, right? He actually gives to medical charities. So you kicked out the wrong person, right? And I don't know how what is going on in Australia? What's going on down there?
We're owned by psychopaths and run by idiots. And unfortunately, the Australian public are still they're at that level of like, we can vote these fuckers out, which is kicking the can down the road.
Which is something I want to touch. Yeah, hold on. Okay. After we finish this part of the conversation, I want to touch on the kick the can down the road and what it really means for 2022.
Oh yeah, the first show is about to happen, I suspect.
We may. It's the last half hour, so it's the serious, but it's the serious section of the show. We'll put jokes in it though. It'll be funny, even if you're crying from fear. You're very. I have no idea what you just said. Something about you love me. I'm great. I didn't catch it all. Unfortunately, because there's restrictions here in Victoria, venues have cut their what's the word? Audience, clientele, people that can go by 50%. And so if you see any footage of the tennis, it's like there's a lot of empty seats there, mainly because the number one male tennis player in the world is not allowed to defend his title that he won last year. Exactly this. The only difference from this year and last year is a vaccine is available.
Yeah.
So there you go. But yeah, I mean, it's not about health and it's all ridiculousness, and you have to break through the tragedy and find the comedy on the other side.
How did we get here? Because how did we get here? All right. I really don't give a toss whether somebody's vaccinated or not. I don't really care. Honestly, I don't. Okay.
Well, you're not a psychopath. That's why.
How did we get to the point where I thought we're supposed to be fighting a microbe? So you can't see the microbe, so I'm going to fight you instead. Okay, it's a microbe that we're fighting. You know that it operates on certain parameters. You're going to cancel all of that, right? Right?
Well, I'm slight to
farmer at this point.
Yeah, a little bit of information to help answer it. back in March 2020, they tapped into the primal fear that humans have.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the starting point. Like I was afraid, it was a completely unknown. And if you watch the movie Contagion, it's like, yeah, we don't really need that virus to come out where you're dead in 48 hours. The thing is, we're nearly 2 years in, and it's like, well, the fear is unwanted because they're full of shit and lying, and it looks about greed for pharmaceuticals. In a way, they kick the can down the road. So some people are still stuck in that primal fear, I would say. They may never admit it or understand it, but I just want to add that to sort of help start to answer the question.
But Monty, like we're supposed to be fighting the microbe.
Yeah,
is the enemy. At this particular point in time, you know that it operates on a certain kinds of parameters. It's a microbe, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I understand taking extreme precautions, right?
Mm-hmm.
But this has escalated past you might have some sort of disease, right? Might.
Yeah, you may have that microbe with you.
Some sort of disease, okay? Fine. This has escalated past this point with you're not doing your civic duty, but civic duty as defined, right? By just any basic is when you protect the public. When you actually the way that protects the public or protects the public. So now you are going to create a tort against somebody who, let's say I live out in the middle of nowhere, right? I live out in the middle of nowhere. You know that microbes operate on a certain kind of principle. They have to be in proximity. You got to have contact. If I am out of contact, you can't say that I'm a danger to society. But how did we get to the stage where there is no more critical thinking? People are just going after each other rabidly, okay? And thinking that this is okay. And actually, it's a kind of funny thing because I'm going to tell you my experience 2 days ago, okay? I went out to the car. I had a mask on. It's the snow. Slip, slip, slip. Held on to something. The mask pops off my face, falls into the snow. I'm not going to pick up the mask and put it on my face again. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go back into the building where I was before, all right? Go get another mask. Yeah?
Because that's what you're supposed to do. It's good mask etiquette, yeah.
When I got to the door, right? There was a lady there said, oh my God. I mean, like,
fear. And the governments want control. Like here in Victoria, our Das Führer, which is just German for the leader. It's not offensive. Our premier is offensive. But there's such a deadly virus. You need to have a test to find out you have it. Like, really? But it's about control because the government said, no, you have to do this. And half of society's gone, fuck off. And that's where the coercion and everything else like that. And so now everyone that, people are dying. And in 2020, they were roughly the same numbers as, say, flu and influenza. The only difference was the media was focusing on it and brought it to the attention of the general public. And you've had 2 years of fear. That's basically, there was the primal fear. People rejected the government's edicts. And so the government went full-blown fascist. And so now every person could kill you because, get vaccinated, wear a mask, you'll kill grandma if you don't.
I have no problem wearing a mask. I have no problem doing anything. And my problem is the attitude of people.
Yeah.
And they need to chill out and stop treating each other. This provided people with another reason why they can treat other people like shit. Okay.
And it's how about if I add this? It's a distraction because if we're going with enemy, which is the psychopaths and idiots with the narrative. And so instead of fighting against that on any level, it's up to you, your choice. I'm trying to raise my own vibration and create my own reality and do it that way instead of going to a protest and punching people. But the distraction now, instead of focusing on like, dude, stop it, they've made everyone focus in on themselves. It's divide and conquer, where, you know, oh, that man, I see people without a mask, I'm like, oh, fair enough. Like, because we have to wear masks inside and all that type of shit. But I also, with my show on the radio, I get they're not anti-mask, anti-maskers, and it's like, it's free will. If someone wants to wear a mask, wear one. It's not a sign of submission to the totalitarian blah blah blah. You pay fucking taxes. It's not the downfall of Western society is not wearing a fucking mask, unless you're a superhero
or a far leftist.
Yeah, or a far leftist. Yeah.
Did you see that video of the woman on the plane that
Which one?
spit on and slapped this man? People have been losing their minds on flights. As for the whole of 2021, like, you could just go on YouTube and Google incidents on airplanes, right? Fights on airplanes. So this woman gets on an airplane. There's an elderly gentleman. This man must be in his 70s, late 70s, and he was served his food. In order to eat his food, he had to take the mask off. Okay? So she... and it's kind of mental. I'm sorry that we can't cut away to actually go to YouTube to see it. But she was passing in the hallway, and the flight attendants are telling her, chill out. And she wants this man to put his mask on. And he's not putting his mask on. And he's calling her, Karen, leave me alone. Karen, leave me alone, right? And she slaps this man and she spits on him. Like, what is wrong with people? I don't understand that. And the flight attendants, the people who are on the flight, are telling, please stop, please stop. The people on the plane are telling her, chill out. But she is so twisted up inside. Andrew, demons run these people.
Yes. Good. And you and I talked about that before. And at that point, whatever was running that woman was making the scene and harvesting the energy from the entire scene. Now, the ironic part, she had to take her mask off to argue with him.
Correct.
Kept saying to her, put your mask on, put your mask on. And at that point, she slapped that old man 5 or 6 times. At what point do you defend yourself against a woman that is doing that to you? And what is the proper defense to that? Just taking it on the face like he did, get spit into his mouth? Because she spit into his mouth.
Him.
No, like, into his mouth.
I'm concerned about him giving you COVID, but you spit on him. Like right. I don't understand. Demons are running these people. Look, if you had to look at the world from an energetic perspective, all you would see is a bunch of demons running everybody out here. Right? Everybody ready to fight over shit they can't see.
Yeah, but it'll be preschool. It wouldn't be high school or college. It'll be preschool level demons. Just like watching. Oh, look, little Timmy's a dick. So, but yeah, it's more.
It's really interesting how all this, at the end of the day, pushes people towards frenzy, towards mania, bringing out the very worst in them. And then looking at it in energetic and spiritual terms really opens up the general population for energy harvesting. Correct. This is done in mass.
And this kind of makes sense because we're slowly running out of time. And so watch this segue. By getting everyone into that frenzy and attacking each other and letting demons run certain people and the harvesting of the energy puts you in a loop. And that means the kicking the can down the road can continue because instead of actually going, you know what, we should remove corruption from the White House. Yes. No, it's more about my neighbor. He's not wearing a mask while he's in his own house by himself. I may die. I'm calling the police. I have fake outrage. Yeah, and they get addicted to that thing as well. And because it's like in lockdowns, you're frustrated. You want things to change. And maybe the government's too big of a target, or you don't realize you think the government's trying to save you, so you turn inward, not to yourself but to family members and everything else like that. But anyway, so yeah, it's a form of kicking the can down the road instead of actually trying to evolve. we're stuck in that loop of hate. Well, not we, but see, absolute, Samir. That's what I'm saying. You got to be careful of it. I should stop saying that.
Well, this is the realm where Siths and absolutes will have great cult of personality followings to them.
Yeah.
Okay? Because there are people that just want to be led by the nose. They don't want to be a black sheep. They want to be a white sheep. And they don't care what you do to the pack of white sheep.
Yeah.
So kick the can down a road is a terminology I've been talking about since early 2012, some of my very first interviews. And a lot of people had a difficult time understanding this concept is when they kick the can, they kick it 20 years down the road. Now, every year for the last 19 years or 18 years, we've had a debt ceiling that had to be raised. Whenever Clinton left office, there was no debt. There was no actual physical debt. And then when Bush II take over, $6.4 trillion completely disappeared from the war trust fund for the DOD. And since that point, the corruption has stolen money to create a form of kleptocracy.
Yeah.
Where it's constantly stealing from itself, to the point we've got debt, the 2008 debt. What did they call it? You needed a minimum of 900 billion to bail out just a handful of banks. Okay,
yeah.
And a lot of the banks paid it back in like 2 months. How the hell did they pay it back in 2 months if everything was no liquidity, et cetera, et cetera? It's because they knew the fiscal policy of kick the can down the road allowed them to create brand new derivative products that were the same thing, just packaged in a different way, and they would be able to continue to make their flows of money as corruption.
Yeah.
So global debt is now 30 times more than global GDP. It's ridiculous.
Wow.
Yeah, it's more than that, actually. It's probably 100 times the global GDP.
It's gone crazy. So now when you look at this, they're all zeros and ones on digital systems of debt. And essentially, you may think for a moment that the whole purpose of this dog and pony show is in fact this insanity people are suffering, harvesting more energy out of them. Because you're not going to be thinking straight if you're in a state of frenzy or anxiety. The most basic skills that you'll do with ease every single day, it becomes a nightmare. You're just being harvested of energy. You're exhausted. Your life force is drained. So perhaps that really is the end game.
Exactly. The end game is to stay playing kick the can down the road, to avoid for as long as possible and to over-insert information, so information is overloaded, and overloaded information becomes weaponized against the potential futures.
Yeah, no wonder I'm tired. Even knowing that, I'm like, oh man. But remember, it's just planetary. It's not it's not galactic. It's just global. So it's just one planet, which is daunting enough. But yeah, that's how I survive these things. Because imagine if this was galactic wide. Fuck me.
Well, it technically is. The galaxy's got its own skeletons in its closet beyond us. We're just one of many skeletons.
I have a suggestion. And Andrew, I think we mentioned this on the show that we did. Why doesn't everybody just actually stop the shit? Stop. You know, if you stop for one day, right? If you stop all the nonsense for one day, if you stop the liking on social media and putting up stupid shit on social media for one day, if everybody stopped, you know the deficit that you're going to create, especially for people that are in league with some of the worst spots of humanity. And I'm going to use the meta people as an example. If you stop the engines for one day, the damage that it would do to them, they went down in one day and lost a whole bunch of money, okay? But that's because that was at their end, right? If people actually stopped and actually put a dent in them and sent them a message, like, we're tired of the toxicity, please stop, okay? Twitter turns an AI into a raving Nazi lunatic for after like how many hours?
4 hours.
And then Facebook takes people who jump on it down the garden path of hatred, really, right? And you're right, Andrew. It's just and Amir, it's about energy harvesting. It's a bunch of have you on that hamster wheel of hate. It's running and running and running and running, right? And it's kind of funny because you got this whistleblower on Facebook that came on and said, you know what? Guess what? They're doing this on purpose.
Yes.
She said that they were doing it on purpose. Whether she's right or not right, whether she's a plant or not a plant, it doesn't really matter. The fact of the matter is it has been everybody's experience that this is what happens. Okay. And so just knowing that alone, if you know this and you have just a seed of enlightenment inside of you, right? Just a seed of absolutely looking, you know how to deal with these people, right? Don't let them take you down a garden path of hatred. Choose to just say, you know what, screw it. I have better things to do, like watch Pepe Le Pew cartoons, which I'm going to do as soon as this broadcast is finished.
Yeah, I downloaded something off like 4 hours of Looney Tunes. I haven't started it because that's a commitment. Because I don't want to stop halfway through.
That was some violent shit back in the day. Like
it's the 1950s.
That was some violent shit. Wile E. Coyote and Roadrunner. What could be worse than that? And then
I never
understood
how that Acme Incorporated never went bankrupt.
Yeah.
Government bailout.
How did Acme not get going bankrupt? But the thing is, there's two types of people in this world. One, people that watch Warner Brothers cartoons, and the other people that watch Disney. And I just don't I don't understand Disney. I tried to watch a documentary about Walt Disney and fell asleep in 15 minutes. Like the whole Disney thing, I just don't get it. I mean, I buy stuff from Disney now because they own fucking half the entertainment world. They've got one of the biggest fleets in the world. Did you know that? Like the amount of boats they have, they could invade Panama.
Star Wars. I hate what they did to Star Wars. I hate.
Well, obviously. Oh, really? Do you know my thoughts?
So essentially, the solution doesn't have to come globally. The solution is individual. That as long as you stop playing into this stupidity and madness, you can grow, you can flourish, you can thrive, and you can live in happiness. So if other people choose to go on with this chaotic madness, this state of insanity, it's their free will, it's their choice. But for yourself, for your family and loved ones, you choose to live well. Don't take part in this madness, this insanity.
Yeah. Well, how do you win a spiritual war? Don't be in it.
You deny the devil the battle. That's the only way to conquer evil. You deny the battle.
Yeah, you deny the energy to them. So, because we've talked about the idea of if you've seen Monsters Inc., where the whole thing about is they scare kids to get energy, and at the end they realize they can get more energy out of laughter. So I put it to Andrew about the whole energy farms, and I think you've mentioned, Andrew, that there's an idea in the boardrooms, like maybe we should try letting people be extremely happy and enjoy life and see how much energy we can get from that. Because if we're in abundance, we don't care if we're giving energy away. But we're at the other end where we're being sucked dry and we're in survival mode. And anyone having fun on the planet at the moment?
I'm having fun.
Yeah, there's always one, isn't there?
All right. So with that being said, we only got a few minutes left here in the show. I want to touch on the Netflix failure to identify their earnings. They missed it by $6.5 billion. They missed their subscriber rates by 2.5 million subscribers. How do you get it that wrong?
You try really hard.
Yeah, I don't missed. How can you? I don't think that was a miss. That's a calculate. So, and I would say an accountant was fired. There, I said it. How can 6 million? Anyway, I don't know. I'm just trying to find a joke.
Tax just purposes, of course. That's a lot of tax money.
They went from $700 a share to $400 a share because of one report.
Wow.
Ooh. But that's how fragile.
All the tech companies are that fragile. One bad story about any of the tech companies, and they will all suffer major losses on their sheets.
I've got an example. Remember when Elon Musk was on Saturday Night Live and he made a joke about Dogecoin and said, no, it's not real. It dropped because people didn't realize it was a joke on a comedy show.
Yep. And then he said, I'm going to buy Dogecoin, and Dogecoin went up and everybody made a bunch of money.
Yeah.
That sounds like a pattern.
You would like to make a comedy show, but then the parody of the shit that goes on is actually funny in and of itself. You can't parody. Right?
No, well, I maintain. I realized that because I watched Don't Look Up. Satire's dead because that's almost a documentary. Idiocracy was a comedy. Now it's not.
You have a bunch
That's
of
what's been happening. So we try to make fun of it, and it becomes serious.
Putting themselves out into space. So, what's his name? The guy from. It was Musk. You got a rocket and you send this guy up into space. And then the guy from Amazon, Bezos.
Yeah.
Deliberately made a phallic-looking rocket.
Yep. You mean Dr. Evil? He looks like Dr. Evil. He's got bald hair. Yeah.
With two testicles at each side.
Flaming testicles.
You want to call... Robert, if you can Google the look of Bezos's rocket, you can put that up on screen because people are going to be saying, "Oh, you're exaggerating." I am not exaggerating.
No.
His rocket looked like a penis,
and it came out at Austin Powers. Go ahead.
We started the show with dildos, and it's fitting that we end with dildos.
Space dildos.
So, Monty, how was the comedy show? Oh, we talked about cocks. 2 hours of cocks.
It was hilarious. Like, he deliberately shaped that rocket that way. He deliberately did. That wasn't any engineering. There's no. That's what it looked like for real people.
Yeah, I remember when it launched, it sort of was going zzz as it went into the air. It's very weird.
Now, as a model in a box, it looks even more dildo-ish.
Yeah,
and there's going to be someone's that uses it for that.
Yeah. What's your kink? I actually take models of spaceships, and never mind.
That's a whole new kink form now. Exactly.
Yeah.
And we're going to
I keep getting thrown out of model conventions. But
Yeah. We're going to call it the laminal order.
It's a good time doing the show.
So from dildo shining sea to dildo shining sea and everything in between.
It's Friday comedy.
All right, Monty, you want to give away for people to get a hold of you?
Oh, I haven't done this for a while. I am Wafer Thin Entertainment on multiple platforms because I fear censorship. YouTube is the main place. And there we go. Also on Twitter, if you walk into that battlefield. If you do, remember, go in with a comedic brain because it's fucking hilarious. Facebook as well. And I think I'm on Patreon. I can't remember. But yes, I've got a weekly show on Revolution Radio called Planet Collingwood, where it's a distraction from all the other distractions, and it's a comedy show, and they still let me do that. So there you are.
Bruce, you want to give away people get a hold of you?
Well, I have a very, very low social media footprint, folks, because of the word count. If you want to get to know me, you got to read. Go to Amazon. There you go. And also, the Galactic Historian is being sold on Andrew's Amazon page. So I highly recommend you read that if you haven't. It's Andrew, are you still talking? I get readers contacting me all the time by Facebook. Is this happening to you?
Yes, but I'm not on Facebook. During my time away, I had to go away from social media, Skype, all that, because it was just too much information overload for me.
Yeah. So read a book, folks. It's going to be not much else to do in 2022. Wait till the power goes out. You'll be glad you ordered that book.
David, you want to give away for people get a hold of you?
Yes, so you guys can find me at info@Universal Citizen. Oh crap, Robert, that's a lot. You can find me at info@Universal Citizen Media TV.com. We're going to be streaming shows kind of like this. Actually, Amir, the first one we're going to be streaming has Amir, myself, and Andrew, and we're going to be talking about, guess what? Magic. We're going to be talking about magic and the appropriation and the uses of magic. So we're going to be streaming that live very soon, and we're going to be starting the whole year with streaming content with very interesting people. So you can find me at those contacts that you see there. Other than that, you can just hit me up on Facebook. That's where everybody is, right?
Amir, do you want to give away for people who got a hold of you?
Well, my day job is academic, but we're doing some pretty interesting work with David. So again, I'll refer you to the Universal Citizen Media website. Yeah, that's my LinkedIn profile. So you can message me there if you would like. But if you're interested in more esoteric and interesting stuff, Universal Citizen Media.
I like your achievements. It looks like a Scrabble board thrower.
I've had a lot of time on my hands.
Yes. So if you want to get a...
I was just going to do a very, very quick joke. Like, you're going to talk about magic. My question is, Orlando or Johnson? Can you imagine if a Magic Johnson played for Orlando Magic? Oh, my mind's blown. Back to you, Andrew.
All right, everyone. If you want to get a hold of me, you go to my website, andrewbartzis.com, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. If you are interested, there is a book that is out there titled The World According to Andrew Bartzis, the Galactic Historian, co-wrote, there we go, by Bruce MacDonald. We have a Spanish translation that will be coming out very, very shortly.
Sí, señor.
Sí, señor. So you'll be able to read Galactic Historian in Spanish. So tell all your friends in Espanola land, the Galactic Historian is coming to you in Spanish in just a handful of time. You can go to Amazon and type in Galactic Historian or Andrew Bartzis or Bruce MacDonald, and you can get the links to the book. We will be back in 2 Fridays, or one Friday, our second Friday from today. We will be back for another comedy show. We invite you to hit that like and subscribe button and pass the word. It's time to laugh at the global narrative because its pants are down, and now is the time to give it a wedgie.
Yeah, watch out for that dildo.
All right, Robert, take us away.
Good.
Each different bubble of reality is true.
A galactic historian is a person that looks at all the lines of dramatic karma.
Nudge, nudge. It's the Holy Grail.
Improvise. Mysterious.
It's counter psychic intelligence.
Why is DNA farming of this star cluster so important?
Because we do manifest our reality. We do create our reality.
Hello. Let's create. Let's co-create. And let's change this world with love. No matter if you're from Alpha Centauri or Earth, we all began with the same birthing process. We live in a limited point of view. Living the mystical life daily is about striving for the unlimited point of view. Each day, each human being gets an infinite amount of choices. Living the mystical life daily is about facing obstacles and challenges. The level of awareness that you are working at means you have a responsibility to be equal with it. How does one truly let go of expectation? You can make the moment that you wake up to the moment you go to sleep sacred. The keys to success: choice, 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 and choice.